Um, Bob, if you want to start, and then we'll go to Essen.
Coach, I'm curious, the ACC, we always ask you how it's improving, where and why. And maybe Clemson's a really good example of how they've had early success, hiring a good coach, going the transfer portal. How have you kind of seen Clemson improve, but also the ACC too?
Yeah, I think they've had to do it different ways. So Clemson, I think, was able to build. And then we hit COVID, and then there was a lot of extra year kids. So a lot of kids that had their fifth year, and then so had college experience to be able to come in and give that to the team. So when you start fresh, you can train some freshmen like they did, and then you can grab some very experienced players to come in and help out. So it was the kind of perfect storm for them to be able to build something super cool. Duke, it's really hard to get transfers into Duke. So that had to be a different build. I think Marissa's gone with a lot of fundamentals, deep with pitching. She's just really built it's just family softball for them. Her whole family plays softball. Her husband leads the way in a club team, a different route, right? Vautech got a new coach. I think Vautech's always been good. They got a new coach. He came in with really good experience and, many years in the SEC at Missouri, and then, was able to build his brand. So I think everyone's done it differently. And, I'd like to say that when we won the championship, administration and coaches are like, oh man, you can do it. Like someone opened the door a little bit, and then people brought their own flavor in here and the way to build it. So perfect storm of a lot of things. And, now it makes every weekend. This weekend's going to be amazing for us. It's going to be sold out crowds. Clemson's all out to take it away from Florida State. Florida State's all excited to go against Clemson. Like it's our first time there. To have that in our conference now is really special.
Yeah, I think you mentioned I don't know how many times you've had a road matchup in the ACC where it's been, nationally televised and what does that mean for the ACC and what does that mean for the sport of softball moving forward to have this opportunity to display this kind of, ESPN2 I think on Friday's game?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't know, Tim, this might be the first time we've been the underdog since.
It's so I did some digging. It's the first time. It's so this year is the first time we've played a top five team on the road in a 3 game series. So we did it
Yeah.
against Oklahoma State, and then we did it against
Yeah.
Clemson. So it's the first time in the ACC. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, this be the first time in the ACC since probably 20. I mean, oh gosh, I think Georgia Tech was above us when 2013, maybe. But this will be the first time someone's ranked above us and going in a long, long time, right? And going into a hometown. So like in the ACC, which is super cool, like for the ACC in general. So having those talks with Beth Mowens and Michelle Smith, and doing the preview talks and just talking about the growth, um, and how exciting it is. But also like John Rittman and I coached together at Stanford. So it's kind of fun because we have this relationship of build. We built Stanford from nothing to go into a World Series together. It was kind of fun. So I know when John came into the league, he called me and he's like, can I bring my team down there? Before they even started playing, he's like, can we come down there? Can we see what you guys are doing? It's a very amicable relationship and it's all about softball. So it is pretty neat to see that part of it and special. And, I don't think we used to have to beg a lot for people to cover us and talk about us. And it's not like that anymore. And of course, TV's helped that, TV gets a chance to see. But I used to be upset all the time. Like every time the SEC would come out in the SEC network, like the SEC's best softball. And I'm like, man, like just put a chip on your shoulder. Like we got good softball down here too. But then that was good to like go against people and prove that. And now we're proving that in the conference. So this will be a really good, hopefully no rain matchup up there in Clemson.
Coach, you've got the pitching staff, the depth to kind of get creative with how you get to 21 outs. I think Link has talked about on his side, he's trying to get creative with how he gets to 27 outs. I mean, it seems like McKenna Reed is someone who maybe likes to watch the game and maybe watch how it unfolds and how some hitters on the opposing team, how their plate appearances are. And she seems to find success out of the pen. Do you kind of seem to see that certain pitchers succeed in just in different roles and different ways of how they absorb the game, maybe?
Yeah. So coming into the season, I had mapped out the first 20 games with our pitching staff and just trying to, one, figure out how I can develop and grow. Two, who's best matchups versus righty lefty, power pull, short game, like, trying to figure out what the matchup piece is. Probably three is who's comfortable coming out of the pen, who needs a start. Like those things are different too. So have really tried to explore a lot of different options. So now going into this half of the season, it's a 3-game series. You got to win the series. So how it's one thing to go against Oklahoma and throw 7 pitchers and do a every inning thing. It's another to be like, strategically, how do you show what you have, win the series? Do we go against Kegel? Do you go against Millie? Like, how do you figure that piece out? So that's where the strategy comes in. So I wouldn't say McKenna her choice is not to sit there and be there for late innings. She wants to start like every pitcher does, and she wants to get after it. And she's proven that she's capable of doing that. And I do think that has been talks on our side to get her some starts. But I also know that getting through 7 innings is really tough to do. So managing those 21 outs and when it's most important to get maybe swing and miss stuff versus ground ball stuff. And so she's got that. She's got swing and miss. So trying to really figure that out. So yeah, so this weekend may look a little different in how we do things for sure, because we're facing a team with really low ERAs. So we really have to manage our run production on both sides,
We talked about this weekend. How big was it to get Mack Leonard going back again? She had a big weekend, 5 hits or 6 hits, whatever it was, and 5 RBI. She had a pretty big week. How big was it to get her back going again? Because I know she had been through a little slump for herself.
Yeah, I mean, I think every hitter during the season goes through a slump. Every pitcher goes through the season and hits a little bit of like not feeling so good. You can't sustain it all season long. So, for her to get back in the cages and get after some work and, attacking, just swinging herself, back into what she's capable of doing is huge for the lineup, 100%. But also a senior that, a lot of seniors can see the end of the road quite quickly than a junior, sophomore, freshman can. So I think instead of, she's really just attacked like, man, this day, this pitch, this, because I'm so concerned that I can't hit. And then all of a sudden I'm not going to hit. And it's my senior year and my senior is horrible. And blah, 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 like she really went down a big road on that side. So I am very happy for our lineup, but I'm very happy for her mental health and her capabilities as a senior being able to finish and know what it takes to get back in there swinging pretty confidently.